Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, Trapper Roll Soap Company and Rolls Gear, and you can find all of our old episodes at bjjshow.com. I'm Rob. Randy and I, we talked a little bit about visiting other gyms and shorts and a t-shirt, kind of old school BJJ wear. So we had some good conversations about some red flags maybe to look at for instructors, or just how to act in a competitive gym, and we really hope that you guys enjoy this episode. Like I said, if you want to help support the show, go to bjjshow.com, buy a shirt, buy a patch, listen to us, recommend it to your friends, and we hope you enjoy this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. I'm Rob.
I'm Randy.
And I just realized I always start after we say I'm Rob, I'm Randy, and I go, and I need to stop doing that. It's just dead noise.
We all have those things.
It's a habit now. Like I can autopilot because I do the intro for the show, like the actual recording, the one that we publish. I got that almost on autopilot still, and then all the bad habits go with it. And I just thought of that too and go, and I
say a couple things too often. I was actually went back and watched part of an old episode we did, and I said too much, like way more than I thought I did. Way more. I thought I was conscious of how many times I said
Right.
It still happens way more often than I'd like it to. And then when I'm teaching, when I'm coaching, I tend to say, does that make sense? A lot. A lot. So we all have that shit, man.
That's all good. And I just noticed it. I'm like, because this is supposed to be an entertainment podcast about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, not the other way around. Or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu podcast about entertainment. That'd be interesting. Let's talk about movies, and I think we've done that before too.
We have done that before, and we talked about books before.
Movies. There's no plays with Jiu-Jitsu in it, so Broadway's out.
That would be lame, though. A musical about Jiu-Jitsu. I don't know about that.
Since we've had a few months since Hawkeye came out, I don't know if did you watch that on Disney Plus?
I did.
I like musical theater, man, but watching it on like TV sometimes just makes me want to just go upstairs and fall asleep and just hope that like it was just a bad dream or whatever, because some of it I can't see.
That Avengers musical thing they did at the end.
Yeah, and then like his response to it was pretty good though. He was like, "That guy wasn't even there. What the hell?" Like, talking about Ant-Man.
Well, and you saw the post-credit where they did the full-on. They actually showed like the full-on musical.
Yeah, I turned it off. I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Post-credits, and then it's like, fuck this."
As long as it was meant to be a joke, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
If they're seriously looking at doing this musical thing with the Avengers, that's cringeworthy and embarrassing, in my opinion.
I'm guessing it's going to be a joke, but still, I just couldn't do it, man. I'm sorry, couldn't do it.
No.
But there are TV shows of jiu-jitsu. We can keep the medium going. They're, like you said, books. So.
Yeah, they're supposed to be coming out. I keep hearing about this Netflix jiu-jitsu documentary, but I still have yet to see any progress in that front. So I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence on some jiu-jitsu documentaries that are supposed to be coming out because, as Reddit likes to remind everybody, Highwell Teague, if I'm saying that name correctly, did a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter for a jiu-jitsu documentary and took tens of thousands of dollars and then never made it. And he's just chilling out, doing his own thing. And every time he posts on Reddit, people are like, "Hey, whatever happened to that documentary?" And he never responds.
Yeah. And we've seen some shadiness like that in the jiu-jitsu community before, unfortunately. I mean, you'd like to think that you get to a certain point and it kind of filters out some of the crooked ass people, but there's always going to be that in every walk of life. You're always going to have that.
There's always crooked fucking people. I mean, even some instructors, I guess. Like I know there's, we've talked about it a bit. I don't even know if it's been on the show, but just in general, like not necessarily pointing out like saying names or anything like ever, but just like some of the weird things we've seen, heard from instructors throughout our travels or through other people that train and stuff like that. I mean, like I said, I've been very, very fortunate.
There has been instructors I know that have been nationally renowned for sexual harassment. Sorry, man. Cat is making her appearance, dude.
It's not a show unless
we have a special guest on the show today. Her name is Molly. She has 4 legs and a tail. It's different. But anyway, there's been instructors that have been accused of sexual harassment. There's been instructors that have been accused of kind of fraudulent activity. We talked one time about a Gracie that pretty well-known Gracie too, that got caught up in some drugs, right?
So yeah, we did.
Stuff like that does happen, and it's unfortunate. There's a jiu-jitsu instructor back in my hometown in Buffalo, New York, that decided to come out publicly and say that he would not allow police officers to train at his gym. It's just everybody's got their opinions, man. Everyone's got their opinions on different issues, and I know a lot of people got upset. And I was kind of, on one hand, I was kind of glad that people got mad that he came out against cops, because I mean I feel like a lot of people in jiu-jitsu are supportive of law enforcement as long as we're doing the right things and recognize their place in that. But at the same time, my other opinion was, well, you know what? That's his gym. He can do what he wants. Obviously I won't go train there.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And we have to look at that. And recently there's been some jiu-jitsu instructors that have been accused of sexual assault, sexual harassment. And so then it comes into this whole thing, not even just criminal and fraudulent activity, but even good and bad instructors. And so when you go to a gym, what are some of the things that we should look for to make sure we're not training at a spot that is either illegitimate or just not a really good place to be?
I mean, there are plenty of legitimate places you can go and train. I feel like the majority of black belts you run into don't just get handed a belt. And I mean, when I say the majority, I don't mean like 60, 70. I mean like 95 to 99.
I would agree with that.
Like it's, what the imposter syndrome, like kind of, run its course, because we've all been there. Like, I don't deserve a blue belt. I don't deserve a brown belt, any of that. And then realize that when somebody hands you a black belt, 99% of the time, it's because you absolutely deserve it.
Yes.
And the 1% of the time, chalk it up to you paid somebody to give you a belt or any of that. So, I mean, but then I think that at that point that it's not a legitimate thing.
Well, I think you have to look at it too, is you're always going to have varied abilities amongst different belt ranks too. So you could have somebody who legitimately earned a black belt, but that may not be the gym that somebody that wants to be a world-class competitor wants to go train at. And so you need to look at some of those things too. And it doesn't mean that black belt's not deserving of the belt that he wears, because there's so many things that go into earning that rank or earning any rank that you get in jiu-jitsu. It's not always a lateral thing and, oh, well, you have to be able to beat so-and-so in order to earn that belt. That's not really how progression is done in jiu-jitsu. And you're going to have gyms that are more self-defense based, that are more hobbyist based, that are more competitive based. And so depending on what your individual goals are, you need to make sure that you find a gym that's in line with what you're trying to accomplish. And I think that every gym also has its own vibe. And so some gyms just don't vibe with you. And, I feel like here in North Carolina, we're really blessed with a pretty wide array of different gyms and different vibes, but a lot of very legitimate instructors. You just got to find the right home. But I would think, so like if you were to go and you're traveled, you're well traveled. I've been around a little bit too. I've been to some jiu-jitsu schools in quite a few different areas. And there's some things I look for. What are some things you look for? If you go to a new town, someplace you've never been before, and you want to drop in on a school and go train, how do you kind of pick the school you're going to go to?
So I kind of just search the area and then see like, oh, what schools are there? And then I'll jump on, there's a couple Facebook groups who are, hey, like members of BJJ Globetrotters is a great one. Be like, hey, I've going to, I don't know, London. What gyms do you recommend? And then usually I'll take that list compared to the places I'm looking or staying or whatever, and then go from there. I also usually try to hit them up before and be like,
Yeah.
hey, traveling, is it cool if I drop in? As opposed to just like, hey guys, decided just to drop in at, this random class. It said competition class, but I figured why not just come in, and then you know what I mean. Like that would
Yep.
you don't want to fuck with their schedule or vibe or whatever. But cleanliness, I mean, that's kind of a big thing, and just kind of how welcoming the instructor is. I try to, I've been to a couple gyms in my travels where I tried it out based on recommendation even,
Mm-hmm.
and the dude was an asshole, like an absolute asshole. And I was just like, okay, well, chalk that up to another one I'm not going to go to. Like, I'm not going to, I'm not going to go visit this club again because it was an area I went to frequently. But um, I take the attitude of the instructor pretty seriously, mainly because as you come from a traditional martial arts background as well, some people get a
Mm-hmm.
little too in their own head, I guess, about having a certain rank, being the leader of the school. It's
Yep.
you're the leader of the school. Yes, you're the instructor, but you're also not a fucking warlord or some royalty figure, like figure of royalty or whatever. So if you act like, yes, you will have to address me in this way and must do exactly as I say, like that type of attitude,
Yeah.
I'm usually out, man. Calling you professor, I'm down with. Like whatever title you want, like that's relevant, I'm cool with. But once it gets to the point where it's like, you demand certain to be treated a certain way just based on the fact that you run the school in like a weird manner, I'm out.
I agree. I agree. I do a lot of the same. Excuse me. I do a lot of the same things. I'll look on reviews for the gym and see kind of what the overall theme is, what people talk about, and I'll purposely hunt out the lowest review on there too. I mean, you obviously know that it's going to be somewhere in the middle, right? That a lot of times that 1-star review is somebody that had their ego bruised or had some bullshit complaint, and it's something stupid, right? But I try to get kind of a good cross section on the reviews that I'm looking at to make sure I'm getting a good, accurate depiction of what that gym's about. I'm like you, I'll call ahead or I'll message ahead or whatever. Sometimes I'll just send them a Facebook message if it shows that they're responsive on Facebook. And I'll just tell them like, hey man, I'm just, I train in my gym locally. I'm out of town for XYZ. I'm just looking to kind of drop in, keep my skills sharp. And I'll tell them right out in the message, because I do this and it's kind of a psychological thing to see how they respond. So I'll tell them, hey, I'm a brown belt where I train. I've been doing this for a while. I'm not looking to come in there and prove myself to anybody. I just want to get some good rolls in, some good training, and kind of looking for a good energy. And I'm not going to be in your way. Just let me know what are the mat fees like, stuff like that. And their response tells me everything I need to know about going to that gym. And it hasn't failed me yet. I mean, I went to Arizona not too long ago for a wedding, and I had never been to Tucson, Arizona before in my entire life. And so I went to Soul Fighters BJJ. It's called Peloton BJJ and run by Sal Flores. And I sent them a message. It's so nice. And then I pop in there and the guy couldn't be there. He worked in law enforcement, ironically. So he couldn't be there. And even his instructors, like his assistant instructors, were the same demeanor that he had, super welcoming, clean atmosphere, super chill, no egos. Even after class, we're just sitting there like asking questions and BS with me for like 30 minutes after class. And I was like, if I ever come back to Tucson, this is where I'm going. Their skill level was legit. Everything was good there. Obviously, I've gone to Knoxville, trained with Samuel Braga, and his name kind of sold me on his gym. But still, I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to end up training with some asshole. And we had Braga on the show. He's clearly not an asshole. Yeah. He's super cool. And that's where I'll go anytime I go to Knoxville, because he's super cool. So, look at that. I mean, I look at their lineage. If it has it on their website, I'll go to their instructor tab, kind of read up on the instructors and see what their lineage is like, what they're about. If you're a competitor and you're looking to kind of get an edge, then maybe look for that. Make sure that they have an extensive, competitive or coaching history. For me, that's not necessarily a prerequisite. It helps, but it's not like a prerequisite. It doesn't have to be there. But you can find a lot of stuff on people, man. The internet is a powerful machine. And if I were searching for a gym in Buffalo, New York, and I came across, Chuck Anzalone's BJJ school up in Buffalo, New York, and he said, fuck cops, and I don't want them training in my gym. And then I do a further search and find out that he had provided information from the U.S. military to the Russian military and was caught up in this whole elaborate scheme. Okay, well, guess what? Probably not going to his gym, just doesn't align with my personal beliefs. And that's just an example. You know, kind of hypothetical, kind of not.
Yeah, no, I understand that completely. I mean, because I'm kind of the mindset too. Like, I do want to go to a place. I do want to roll. I do want to get like a good roll in. I don't want to either get the shit beat out of me or like a good example. I kind of feel like if I went to Daisy Fresh, like, hey guys, I just want to check it out, I would probably get fucking steamrolled for like an hour and a half straight. Like, and that's just the nature of the game, man. Like, I understand, I'm a hobbyist jujitsu guy with a podcast. It's, I don't, competing's fun.
Yeah.
I just don't have the time to dedicate to competing and being good at competition. But, but I also feel like, because I don't know, maybe I'm wrong in feeling this way. I feel like I do a disservice if I show up to a very, very competitive gym and I'm just like, hey guys, I'm Rob, I would like to roll with y'all. And then they just, I'm a punching bag. Then there's maybe I give the blue belts a run for their money. Maybe. Cause like those guys are fucking amazing. Maybe I don't know. But then I'm just an extra person that could have been a good role for somebody else. You know what I mean?
Right. I agree with you on that. And I mean, I went to Wilmington and went to Salty Dog Jiu-Jitsu, which, I'm not saying this in a bad way. They're a fantastic gym, really good people up there. You've got some very high level competitors that train there, whether it's mixed martial arts or jiu-jitsu or wrestling. They've got a really strong wrestling program over there, base over there. And I'll go back there if I go to Wilmington because Buddy trains there and they were welcoming. It was great. But damn, like you're saying though, I looked around after we did our warm-ups and our technical part of it before we got into the rolls. I looked around and I could see, okay, that guy is probably some kind of pro competitor just by his movement, the way he's doing things, his intensity. Like, okay, I'm not going to even bother trying to go with that guy unless he specifically comes up to me and says, hey, you want to roll? Then I'm not going to say no. Like, sure, absolutely. But for the exact reason you're saying, like, I'm not here to try to help this guy prepare for some pro fight. I don't want to waste his time. I don't have anywhere near the wrestling abilities he has. And he's starting every round standing because he's clearly working on some type of entry or skill. Like, dude, I'm not going to help you. I'm just going to slow down your progression with what you're trying to do. So I kind of made myself go off to the other people that I thought were more in line with what I was doing, and still got a hell of a experience and super competitive roles. And, definitely had to step up my game and my intensity more than I thought because there's some freaking killers over there. But it's also humbling when you go to a school like that and you're like, man, what belt are you? And they're like, I don't even have a belt. I don't do jiu-jitsu, man. I'm just a grappler. And you're like, fuck me, man.
That's fucking awesome. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to roll around on the ground and giggle and make jokes while I'm rolling and, in a brand new gym. I still want, like, I go there to work out. I go there to get better.
Yeah.
But there is absolutely just a very stark difference between some of the professional BJJ people.
Yeah.
And then like me. And that's okay. I'm down with it, man. Just
hell yeah, man.
Like you said, don't want to waste time. Let them focus on what they're doing. So, like, because when I was competing, it was annoying to me. I'll never forget it. We were getting my friend Hardiman ready for a kickboxing match. And at this time, I did have more striking experience. I had jiu-jitsu experience because I was a brand new blue belt, the toughest guy on earth, right? And I remember we were working catching kicks, and this dude who neither competed or showed up frequently, and definitely never like had any real striking ability, I think, came onto the mat eating like a roller dog that he got from the 7-Eleven next door, trying to tell us how to properly do like some move.
Yeah,
like catching kicks there. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, dude. One, why are you eating a hot dog on the mats?
Yeah.
And two, like, like it's not the time nor the place to be
No,
offering advice.
no, that's ridiculous. Well, and we've all had the experience. If you've got color on your belt, you've had the experience where you're trying to work on stuff for your progression in the art, and you're looking that day, that particular day, each day is different, but some days I'm looking for competitive roles in the mat. I'm trying to test something. I'm trying to improve in some facet, right? So I come in there and like, I need to make sure I get some rolls in with some brown belts, some purple belts, some tough blue belts, but I want some competitive rolls today to really pressure test whatever it is I'm trying to get better at.
Yeah.
And the first thing that happens every time I do that is I get like 3 white belts back to back to back. They're like, you want to roll? You want to roll? You want to roll? And you're like, look, it's no disrespect intended. Like I understand, and I'm appreciative of the fact that you want to roll with me. I really am. And on most days, I will never say no. But there have been times recently where I've had to say, hey, no, I'm working on something. I gotta go roll with, with John or Jeremy or something. And sometimes you see that look of dejection in your face and you feel horrible, but it's like, you'll understand when you get further into this thing. And so I think of that from the reverse perspective. If you got somebody that's like a high level competitor wanting to work on some things, I don't want to be the same thing as that white belt looking for a role when I'm trying to work on things that are a little bit higher level than they're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I try to use the same perspective across the board, because you got to have some humility in this game and recognize there's people that are way better than you at certain things. And I don't want to hinder somebody's progress if they're really like, because you come in there some days and you're like, yep, I feel good today. Like I want to bring my A game against some tough people and I want to try to get better at this because I feel good today.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want to do, no offense, is waste 8 minutes of my session just kind of flowing with a white belt because they're spazzing out and they don't know what they're doing. And I'm just kind of like, okay, let me just survive this and not get hurt so I can go roll with somebody tougher. I don't want to be that guy to somebody that's trying to prepare for a fight,
Exactly. And we still love you, white belt. So don't
we
feel
do,
discouraged.
absolutely.
Don't feel discouraged.
Who would I bring my D game against if we didn't have white belts out there to roll with?
How would I not get? I couldn't have rest rounds if we didn't have white
You
belts.
can't have restaurants.
Until the rest round turns out to be a fucking Olympic wrestler, and
we've got one in our gym, man. We got
dude,
one. Did you get a chance to roll with them?
Yeah, I was like, what, fuck it, let's go stand it. I really want to see what happens. That was the dumbest mistake I've made in a long time.
Dude, anybody that comes in, he's doing gi now. Like he's making the dive into jiu-jitsu, right?
Jesus,
so you'll see people.
Awesome.
He comes in there wearing a gi and is a crisp, brand new fucking white belt because he literally has no rank in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
and I love it because people will go and they're like, oh, there's this white belt. Let me go against this guy, and they don't realize that he was a alternate for the U.S. Nationals men's wrestling team and is a fucking beast.
Dude, I you can't be mad at it because I asked, I was like, can we go standing? I think I touched his foot once and I'm like, I still got a little bit of something, maybe.
Yeah.
Then he countered it with not a guillotine in the front. It was I forget the wrestling name for it. It's pretty much like holding somebody in a guillotine, their head in the side for control to reshoot. And he's just like, oh shit, I think I can guillotine from here. And I was like, tapped. I was like, bro, you fucking holy shit, that's awesome. That is
that's what we're working on him with, is we're trying to get him really good at the front headlock series, like the guillotine, Darce, Anaconda, because he never has a problem snatching up somebody's head and neck, man. He's just so strong. And he was a Greco-Roman guy. So he didn't do freestyle or anything. So he doesn't do a lot of shots for your legs or anything like that. It's all over body throws and control. His hand fighting is phenomenal. So I've been working with him a lot on hand fighting because I want to get better at it. And it's so crazy, man. His 2-on-1, his Russians, his collar ties and underhooks and arm drags and shit. So, I mean, he just plays right into the whole guillotine thing. He's ridiculous, but also super cool guy.
Yeah, he's cool as fuck. I like the guy a lot. That leads me to another question, because I saw this on Reddit and it made me feel good about, I guess kind of the old school days. And I say old school for me is the early 2000s, not the 90s, maybe mid 2000s. Yeah, mid 2000s. I'll be more realistic. Training in plain shirts and shorts, not even grappling shorts. Does he train in that usually in no-gi?
No, he's been wearing rash guards lately, rash guards
Okay.
and grappling shorts. Yeah, for the most part, that's what he does.
I remember. No, I just was like, cool. We got maybe a little shift coming back to some t-shirts and basketball shorts. Now, granted, like, I felt like king shit when I finally got a pair of sprawl shorts because I was the man then.
Draw, man. That was the
Like,
company.
yeah.
That was the
I don't
company.
even do they even make shorts anymore? Because I might have to buy another pair because I got made like I don't know if anybody still talks a couple of guys I train with, but every time they'd see a picture of me doing nogi, I'd always have those pair of white sprawl shorts on that I bought like years and years and years ago because they're amazing. Like I absolutely love sprawl shorts, and I just I guess I need another pair, and if I'm going to buy another pair, I'm going to get another pair of sprawls, man, to really be my go-to.
Dude, sprawl, they were the shit. They were good shorts. Um, I liked them a lot. So here's what I'll say about the shorts and t-shirt thing, though. So the only reason I don't like basketball shorts is because of the pockets and toes getting hung up in them and shit.
Yeah.
But I do think that you're starting to see like kind of a hybrid. I mean, so Brad has been doing that forever. There's days he comes in wearing the full on rash guard outfit and everything. But there's also days that he'll come in wearing like what do they call those? Like the baseball style shirts that are like 3/4 length sleeves.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I just call them
He'll come
baseball
in,
shorts.
he'll come in,
Shirts. God dang it, shirts.
he'll come in wearing those with like a pair of grappling shorts, and stuff like that. He's been doing that since I've known him. And I've seen more and more people come in wearing just regular t-shirts, but with grappling shorts. I think that's okay. I mean, every now and then, if it's a baggy enough t-shirt, if it's cotton and stretches out there in the roll from sweat, you'll get hung up in some material. But I mean, it is what it is. It's not any different than getting hung up in somebody's gi, So
I think I'm gonna have to kick it.
Maybe just make it come back.
It might be. Maybe I'm just gonna have to kick it old school next time I do some nogi up there. It'll be like, probably not a plain white t-shirt. I feel like that's a little creepy.
Yeah.
For me, nobody wants to see that after a good summer roll in 80-degree weather.
Oh no! And then you get all like the yellow sweat stains and shit on it. Disgusting,
dude. I sweat. Like it's disgusting. I wash.
I can confirm that you are a sweater, sir. That's true.
It's my natural defense, dude. That's how I get out of a lot of no-gi attacks. I'm just like, it's an arm bar, and I just pull my arm out completely.
It's your lubricant for escapes.
It is. I almost want to try because I've never done it. Like now that I think about it, just after a good no-gi workout, see if I can run and like slip and slide on the mats just with the amount of sweat I make.
You should do it. That'd be funny.
Terrible. I would mop the mats for y'all though if I did that. I feel like that's not a very like I wouldn't be a good guest if I'm just sitting there just rubbing my sweat all over the mats for no good reason aside from just trying to slide from one end of the mats to the other.
It'd be funny to watch though.
It would be. All right. So before we head out, do you have anything you'd like to say to our friends and listeners?
No, sir. Keep training. I just want to say this though, actually real quick. So missed about 2 weeks from COVID. First of all, Omicron is a bitch. Second of all, just don't take training for granted. I mean, it's only been 2 weeks, not a big deal. I'm not trying to be dramatic about it. It really was just like a bad cold is all it felt like. But when you go back, it makes me realize just how much we love this thing called jiu-jitsu and how much of a positive impact it has on our mentality and our attitude. So one thing I got to say is get your ass in the gym and train hard, enjoy it, love it.
I agree that it's real easy to get to the gym for some people. Just getting, drive 10, 15 minutes sometimes. And, if you're out for quarantine or for business trips or anything like that, it's depressing. You got to figure out other ways to do it. And, it sucks. So yeah, don't take your training for granted. I know it will all eventually get there. Putting timelines on stuff, like it's good for goals, but if you don't reach it sometimes based on outside, truly outside of your control shit,
yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah.
Now if you're like, oh, I didn't reach it, because I didn't go to the gym enough because, I just didn't want to. Well, that's on you. So sorry.
Get in there and train. Time's going to pass anyway. Might as well get in there and make it happen. So
that's right. So Ladies and gentlemen, it's been another episode of the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, Trapper Roll Soap Company and Rolls Gear, and you can find all of our old episodes at bjjshow.com. I'm Rob.
I'm Randy.
We'll catch you guys next time.